All right, I'm 365 Days of Horsemanship, day 334 and 335. So really enjoyed coming up. I had 2 long days, 2 12-hour shifts, and I set it in my mind that I was going to try just doing whatever it took to make it up to the horses, because I kind of had this realization around like being a people pleaser and how, because I was really getting confused like by how it could be so easy for me to do things for others and to turn up on time to work or do something that someone else has asked me to do and to push myself through discomfort in order to get those things done or achieved, but I'm unable to do that for myself so easily, and kind of came to realize that it was to do with this idea of people pleasing, this idea of valuing the needs of others over the needs of myself. And I think that somewhat goes to explain the difficulties I have with maintaining consistency with the horses, because where I'm inconsistent with myself in the rest of my life, it really sort of it's only myself I'm kind of letting down. Whereas with the horses, I feel, a great like weight of responsibility to be a good partner and a good friend to them, and to make sure that their life is as good as I can make it. And then when I don't turn up for them, then I feel really bad about that. And so I realized that what I needed to try to do was practice prioritizing my own needs and allowing life to be more difficult during the other times, if that was what it took, to make sure that I got my needs prioritized, because I want to be here. Like, I want to be doing this horsemanship work. So that was interesting. I basically, what it amounted to in real terms was doing my 12-hour shifts and making sure that I had caffeine in the afternoon that was going to make sure that I was like physically energized enough to be here for the horses. And yeah, went really well. The first day I was super tired and had some really interesting realizations around concern and anxiety. So I came up, I had a nice little, just quick, easy 10 minutes with both of them, where I just did my freedom-based training, and both days kind of worked a little bit of a distance. Didn't really do any touching distance stuff because I knew I was really tired. I didn't want to like get my timing wrong and end up in a like rubbishy situation. So I just kind of wanted to do something that was going to be really easy for both of us, that we're going to feel really successful and have a good feeling, so that I could like be like, cool, yeah, good feeling, done. And I think that's really powerful, because actually what ended up happening was I just had a nice little 10 minutes with Mia. We looked at some stuff. I was at a kind of medium distance. We walked over here, we sniffed some stuff, we went over there, we looked at the herd, we looked at the environment, just general, like being alive stuff. And yeah, then I went to Lawrence, had a similar experience with Lawrence. And yeah, went to leave and immediately felt good. Initially had this one little sort of second or two of being like, oh, that was so nice to have such good sessions with both of them. The immediate next thought was, oh my God, I should have been here longer. I'm so lazy. I can't believe I only did half an hour between the 2 horses. That's terrible. And was like, whoa, hold on a minute here. Like, what is this voice that comes up that's like, this is never enough. This is never good enough. Like, where is the flow? Where is the taming of the wild? Where is the patience in that mindset and in that attitude? And so that was kind of a big thing to understand and realize. And I think I managed to catch myself where before I would have gone, oh, and now I need to feel my feelings. Now I'm going to feel all this bad feeling about myself for hours on end in pursuit of feeling my feelings. And what I actually realized was that there's a big difference between feeling your feelings and feeling anxious about your feelings and feeling anxious instead. So that was really good. to kind of understand that, and basically just said to myself, well, actually, the reason that I didn't do so much is because I'm super tired today. And, you know, I had really successful sessions that were within the bandwidth of what's possible for me and my horses, which actually, if I go back to like day 1, 2, and 3 of this project, those were the boundaries I set for myself. I said, I will be here every day, and I will do something every day that is within the bandwidth of me and my horses. If that means I turn up and I do 5 minutes and I go home, then that's what I do. And really going back to the core of this project, actually reminding myself and being like, you know, I came, I was successful, that's great. And then allowing myself to feel the way I actually felt, which was tired and sleepy, and I had a little bit of a headache, and I was just kind of like, and I thought, you know, I feel this way and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I'm okay that I feel this way. I'm okay that I came up and I gave my horses what I had. Oh, excuse me. And I am okay sitting with these feelings. And so that was really powerful. So the next day I had a much better day. I was much less tired. And so I came up and was able to give again kind of a little piece of myself that was super authentic. And I think that's where, again, this idea of like quality over quantity is coming through for me now again, where it's like learning how to kind of have both is kind of an exciting thing that happened these 2 days, is that it was like, okay, actually I can have quality in a really small dose. And so with Mia, it was really easy because she'd actually been riding with the kids. And so she was kind of tired, and it was really easy for me to kind of come in and be like, hey, why don't we just do some distance work? I don't need to come too close to your space. I know people have been all up in your space today. Let's just take a breather and like do some distance work. And she was super happy with that. And we were just able to like just chill and be and just like wait for a really nice moment where she's happy and I'm happy and we're in a good flow together. She was definitely finding it difficult yesterday to settle with me into flow. Like there was a lot of like changing of the position. I was doing quite a lot of supportive walking leadership because she was changing my position quite quickly. But I was just like, I just didn't really worry about it. I wasn't really worried about like being late or whatever, or being like, oh, now she's moved, I've got to move. I'm not like, oh, damn it, I was late. You know, I'm just like, yeah, no worries. Like she's tired, I'm tired. We're just doing a thing. At some point we'll settle, we'll find a nice place to be. Which we did, and we had a lovely just few steps of just like being together. I'm checking out the environment, she's doing her grazing, everyone's happy. Cool, perfect, let's just leave it there. That was really nice, thanks for hanging out with me. Went over to Lawrence was super itchy yesterday, and again I was able to just kind of like, I was able to give him the itching that he needed. He was also able to practice some changes of focus. I think he's realized now that the game is that he needs to not think about the scratches if he wants me to scratch him, which is great, except I now have this feeling that he's kind of pretending to be focusing on other things while he's also still thinking about the scratches. So I'm not really sure what to do about that. There are a few options. Option number 1 is to increase the difficulty and basically keep moving past that feeling until he's truly not thinking about the scratches, and then scratch him. I think it's going to take a long time, like a long chronological time in the session for him to get there, which is not necessarily something that's available to me in my practice at the moment. I also think it's going to be quite difficult for me to tell. Like it's quite a subtle feeling that I have, and I feel like I'm going to end up being unsure and then feel frustrated that I probably could have gone to scratch him sooner and that would have been better, or I'm going to miss a moment and then end up like back in this kind of, I feel like it's going to get messy. I can already kind of see that it's going to be really difficult for me. And there's nothing wrong with something being a difficult challenge, but it's also important to feel successful. So I'm trying to kind of set us up for success with this new information by thinking about how we're going to work forward with it in a way that is going to work for both of us. I think the other important thing to kind of recognize as well is actually, I was listening to, I can't remember if it might have been Warwick Schiller's Journey On podcast with Elsa, or it might have been one of Elsa's Patreon videos. I can't remember recently, but there was something where she talked about getting comfortable being in the plateau. And this is a very new thing that's now just happened with Lawrence, where I feel like he's like kind of pretending. And it's not been happening for very long. So I think maybe there's something to be said for just allowing that to become the new normal, because it's definitely better than the old normal. Which was, he like is very stressed and desperate and frustrated and like needs me to scratch him right now and can't think about anything else, to now even being able to like slightly think about something else while still thinking about the scratching is an improvement. So there's also an argument for like, do we just let it sit like that, keep practicing it and see what happens? I don't really know. So, yeah. The other option is, I just scratch him every day, increase the amount of scratching. But I do feel like there's a level of it where there might be too much scratching, where I'm kind of going to like help him feed his obsession. If he's always thinking that I'm going to be there and there's going to be scratching every single day, like getting into the habit and the pattern of it, I don't know that that's especially helpful for him. So yeah, but I mean, basically both days, I didn't do very much like chronologically, and again, I've started with the negative rather than being like, yeah, I had 2 really great sessions where I learned a lot of stuff. Like, yes, I did 10 minutes, but also I worked 12 hours both days, and there's only so many hours in the day. So that was good. So I felt good about both of those sessions. It was nice to have a window of like remembering all the reasons why consistency is really great. I'm going to try to keep balancing myself. I feel like I'm like getting up on the surfboard of the waves of life, and I'm just like, oh, okay, right. And then just try to keep myself motivating myself. Like, I realized, like, if someone said to me, like, you can take a pill that will make you feel great about, like, physically great every time you go to the horses every day for a month, and then you can like stop taking it, would you do it? I'd be like, yeah. Because ultimately it's like the habit that your brain gets into of feeling that way when you go there. That habit is powerful for the brain. So it's like actually having an extra cup of tea during the day at a time specifically to make sure that I'm feeling motivated to go doesn't necessarily mean it's a long-term goal that I need caffeine to play with my horses, but it's not actually the end of the world in terms of like being a journey and a pathway towards untangling a lot of this like negativity that I feel around it while I'm working through all of the mindset challenges and all of the like insecurity and the self-esteem issues and the self-confidence and all of the other reasons that my brain uses to convince me that I shouldn't go because it's not worth it and because I'm not good enough anyway and I never really achieve anything and there's no point and everyone else is better than me, so I may as well not even bother. While I'm working through all of that, it would be great to not also be physically tired at the same time. And if there's something I can do to facilitate my needs and my wants of going to the horses as being a priority in my day that's achievable for me, then I absolutely should do that. So that was good. So I feel good about it. Good 2 days.